All right, we just opened it up. People are joining. Good morning or afternoon for some of you. I'm Chris Heller. I'm Chief Growth Officer of Lower, formerly the president of Movoto. Now we're all one company. Lower owns Movoto. And we got a great masterclass scheduled today with I would say my favorite, but if I did that, I'll get in trouble, but one of my favorite trainers in the industry. But if you don't tell anyone, yes, he's my favorite right now. All right. Hey, just as we're waiting for a few more people to file in, please let us know where you're joining from. We always like to see that in chat. I am in a little town called Whitefish, Montana, and I'll put that in chat. All right. Awesome. Awesome. All over the country, all the nooks and crannies. All right. This is going to be, and for those of you that are here with us right now, if you don't have pencil and paper or pen and paper or pen and pad or chalk and chalk, whatever, make sure you have something to write with. You're going to get a ton of good information. You're going to want to take a ton of notes, and you won't want to miss this. And don't rely on the recording because, yes, we send you the recording, but we also know that very few of you will watch or listen to it after we send it to you. You're here live, pay attention, take notes. All right. I'm going to introduce our guest speaker for this month's masterclass. And the reason we do these masterclasses is just to give back to the industry, give back to our network. We want to deliver as much value as possible. And we know delivering things that help you do more business is the ultimate value that we can deliver. Jeff Glover is the founder, CEO of Glover U. He also has one of the most productive teams in the country. I met Jeff a long time ago when he was a young pup. Unfortunately, he still looks like a young pup, and I don't. So something's happened there. But Jeff started, I think, when he was 19, sold 30 homes his first year, um, and has sold hundreds and hundreds of homes. He still goes on appointments. He still lists homes. He is in the trenches, but he also has helped some of the most productive agents and most productive teams in this country increase their businesses significantly. So you guys are going to hear straight. And this topic that he's going to be talking about today is very timely. So with that, Jeff, I'm going to turn it over to you so that people can hear from you and stop hearing
Yeah.
from me.
Thank you, Chris. Yep. I think we go back to maybe 2005 when Chris and I first met. And I just remember, sitting in an audience of an event, looking up, seeing Chris on stage and saying, man, I want to be like him one day. So it's cool that we get to work together now. Chris, you've inspired me and so many through the years, and keep doing what you're doing. And thank you for the opportunity to give back. And yeah, I think when we're doing today's session, I don't want you to look at me as a trainer, a speaker, a coach. I want you to look at me as one of you. As Chris mentioned, I'm still in the trenches with you. Just to give you an idea, for me, a bad month would be like 6 or 7 listings taken. A good month is probably about 8 to 10 listings taken. That's for me personally. People, wonder like, Jeff, how do you do all that you do and still stay in production? Well, production's kind of my core. Everything else spawns from that. Glover U is our training and coaching company, and we now have coaches all over North America. But really, Glover U wouldn't be having the success that it's having if I wasn't still in the trenches, because that's how you stay sharp. So, anyways, I'm excited to share with you guys today because I know that every market across the US and Canada is functioning a little bit differently right now. We're seeing markets where prices are down. We're seeing markets where prices are up. And the majority of us, we're probably seeing markets where prices are just kind of holding steady. And one thing I've always known, and Chris, I know you know this as well, generally speaking, what happens in the real estate market in the states of Florida, Texas, and California, generally speaking, ends up happening nationwide. It happens in different degrees and different percentage increases or declines, but it winds up being what the average of all of the United States ends up doing. So, for those of you that are sitting back and saying, my market's fine, that doesn't mean it's always going to be that way. And let's be honest, the markets are always shifting anyway. So, today's topic, which I'm going to get into for a second, is I'm actually going to walk you through my exact listing appointment. When Chris and his team reached out to me and said, hey, Jeff, you've taught on this before. What do you want to teach this time? What I'm seeing in the industry is a lot of agents who, number one, have never been trained on a strong listing appointment, or at a minimum, even if they have been trained on a strong listing appointment, they don't know how to have a tough pricing conversation with a seller. And as you know, over the last 5, 7 years, the conversation with sellers has been, whatever price you want, we can probably get because inventory is so low. Obviously, you guys know that that's not the case in most markets today. So I'm actually going to walk you through. Previously, we only would reserve this for anyone who attended my listing mastery course. Because I'm more interested in making a difference in the industry. A lot of the stuff that we used to charge for, we give away for free. Speaking of free, let me share some free resources with you. So let me get my share screen going. I'm going to get you free resources, and then we're going to jump into the actual listing appointment. So you should be able to see my screen, and let me just go into the slideshow mode. So I want to share with you a handful of free resources. I'm not going to go through all of them, but first and foremost, the one that I'm told is the most popular, that's that daily message. You don't need to scan that QR code. In fact, if you just text the word morning to 55444, you'll be signed up for it. That's right. You just text the word morning to 55444. So what that is every day, Monday through Friday, I write a message specifically designed to help you list and sell more real estate. Sometimes it's, I went on an appointment last night. Here's what the seller said to me. Here's how I handled it. Other times it's, sometimes it's motivational. Sometimes it's, hey, I changed this in my social media posts, and all of a sudden I'm seeing really good engagement, and I've gotten a few leads off of this technique. Anyways, whenever we do something that we have success with, I share it with you for free. And so if you just text the word morning to 55444, you'll be signed up for that. That's probably our most popular resource. The other resource that's not listed on here is the GloverU app. If you don't have that on your phone, I'm going to suggest you make a note to go get that later, or go get that now if you want. There's probably more things that you can download in terms of tools and resources for free than we ever charge for. So go take advantage of that. It's super simple. Just search GloverU in your app store. So I'm going to walk you through my list.
Hey, Jeff,
Go
real
ahead.
quick. I don't know if it's on your screen or not, but there's in the bottom right-hand corner of your screen, it's sort of blocked off. Like you can't see the 25-minute thing because there's a black box there.
Oh, really?
I don't know if I'm the only one seeing that or.
Yeah, that's not on my screen.
Okay.
Um,
Jenna
let me
isn't.
let me go to the next. Let me advance a
Okay.
few slides and see if it still shows up.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
looks like some folks in the chat are seeing it as well. It might just show up
Let
for
me
the
see.
viewers.
Let me try stopping the share. I wonder if it's because of the chat box. Hold on. Let me move the chat box. That might be helpful. Okay, let's try this now. Is that better?
Yeah, it's still there.
I think now
But
we
it's
see
only.
two black boxes.
Well, if it's okay. If I mean, as long as it doesn't cover up the majority of the video.
Yeah, majority of it. It's just the bottom right-hand corner. We're good. It'll be
Yeah,
fine.
I don't see it on mine. That's so odd.
Yeah.
But if it ends up interfering with it too much, let me
I'll
know,
call
and
it out.
I'll
If
let
we
you know.
can't see, yeah, if we can't see something important, I'll let you know.
Perfect. Okay, sounds good, and I'll point it out. So, I'm going to walk you through the exact listing appointment that I follow today. In other words, for instance, tonight I have 2 listing appointments I'm going on tonight. This is 80 to 90% of what's going to happen at that kitchen table. Now, the reason why I say 80 to 90% is because every scenario is different. Sometimes sellers are upside down. Sometimes sellers have a ton of equity. Sometimes sellers are for sale by owners. Sometimes sellers are an internet lead. Sometimes sellers are expired listings. So when I say every single appointment is 80 to 90% of this, really the only thing that changes is the actual type of appointment. All right. So I'm going to share with you all of the steps in the exact listing appointment that I'm using right now to take 7 to 10 listings per month, which does not even include our team. Just to give you an idea, in the little state of Michigan, I guess it's not little, but it's a medium-sized state. In the state of Michigan, we take 75 to 85 listings per month right now using this exact appointment. So step 1, we always assume the listing. All right. I'm gonna play each step, and I'm gonna paraphrase a few things for you as we go. Here's what assuming the listing looks like from the second I get to their door.
James, Laura, thank you so much for having me out.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah, I'm very much looking forward to going to work for you and ultimately getting your home to a closing table, which is what you want, right?
Yes.
Okay, simple as that. I'm looking forward to going to work for you and ultimately getting you to a closing table. which is what you want, right? Now, I'm not even their agent yet. They haven't hired me, but I'm speaking to them. The lesson under this one, if you're taking notes, I want you to write down step one, assume the listing. I want you to understand throughout my entire appointment, I'm going to talk to them as if they're already my client. Throughout the entire appointment, even if I don't have a contract signed, I'm talking to them as if they're already my client. That's step one, assume the listing. Let's go to step two.
James, Laura.
Step two, we have to lower their guard. All right? Lower their guard is important because when you watch, actually, this is a good example. When you go into a furniture store in your market today, you walk into the store, as soon as you're greeted at the door by the salesperson, what do you say? No, thanks, I'm just looking, right? No, thanks, I'm just looking. Every time you walk into a furniture store, you say that. But then why do you beeline it for the mattress aisle and you go lay down in that perfect Serta or Sealy Posturepedic that you've been wanting? But I thought you were just looking. So you have your guard up when you walk into the store. Why do you have your guard up when you walk into the store? Because you don't want to be sold anything. You don't want to be pressured into buying anything. So you put your guard up and you say things like, no, thanks, I'm just looking. Because if you say, no, thanks, I'm just looking, then the salesperson will back off, right? Of course. Consumers do the same thing to you before you come out. There's a conversation that takes place like this. Hey, no matter what he says, we're not signing anything. No matter what she says, we're not signing anything. That conversation takes place prior to you getting there. So then when you show up, they have their guard up. We're not signing anything. We're not signing anything. We're not signing anything. So here's how you lower their guard. This actual technique, it's called the one of three things will happen script. It's actually been out for several decades. I've modified it, or what I like to call, I've modernized it a little bit. But every single appointment I go on, after I assume the sale, I assume the listing, looking forward to going to work for you, most importantly, helping you get this thing closed, I go right into this. And this is step two, lower their guard. Ready?
So to start us off, if it's all right with you, I want to make sure we're on the same page. There's one of a couple things, really three things that could happen this afternoon. Number one, you could feel 100% comfortable and confident in my abilities of helping you achieve your goals. And I've got everything here in terms of the paperwork ready to get started should you choose that option. Or number two, you may feel after our discussion that you're not comfortable with some things I have to say, or you're not comfortable with the price, or you're not comfortable with some of the things we talk about, and you may decide not to work with me, and that's okay too. Or number three, if for any reason that I feel that I can't help you get to your destination in a reasonable time frame, and of course for the money that you want to put in your pocket, I may decide, if it's all right with you, I may decide not to take your listing. And any one of those three is fine, okay?
Sounds reasonable.
Sounds reasonable. Why? Because that is reasonable. You have to understand, your competition is going on a listing appointments today, and they're begging for their business. They have their guard up, remember. So begging for their business when they have their guard up is not going to get you anywhere. They're going out and they're showing, here's a picture of me and my dog and my cat, and here's a picture of the 7 trophies that I won over the last 30 years. They're doing everything they can to try to build credibility with the seller, when in this case, what I'm doing early on in the appointment is I'm helping the seller understand that I would like their business, but I don't need their business. If you add this to your current presentation, you will without question see, like, remember I said they had their guard up? You're going to see them go like from this, close to the vest to, oh, okay. Well, that's reasonable. That's nice. That's a change of pace. Now, they might not say that, but they're thinking that, and you can sense it. It's like they breathe this sigh of relief that it's not going to be like the last appointment. So one of three things will happen. I'll just paraphrase those for you real quick. One, you'll like what I have to say, and we'll do business together. Two, you might not like what I have to say, and we won't do business together. Or three, if I feel I can't help you, I won't take your listing. And any one of those three is fine. By doing that, you're setting the tone that you're good at what you do, and you don't need you like their business, but you don't need their business. I can't tell you how many of our students have implemented this into their listing appointments and swear by it now. I mean, I will tell you the first time I learned this, Chris, I don't know how you felt, but this is a technique that's been around for probably 30 years. When I first heard about this technique, I thought, that's kind of cheesy. That doesn't really fit my style or who I am. But then I just decided to try it one time. And I won't go on an appointment without doing it. I cannot believe how effective it is. Step 2, we lower their guard. Step 3,
Yeah.
oh, go ahead, Chris. Were you gonna say something?
I was just gonna say I use that exact technique on and
Yeah.
it's powerful because it does, as you said, differentiate you from the other agents that are, begging, pleading, trying to convince, cajole, where
Yep.
you're just like, hey, one of these three things is gonna happen, and any one of them is fine.
Yep, that's right. All right. So step 3, we have to remind them why they're moving early on in the appointment. And I want you to write this down underneath this. No one likes to sell, but everyone loves to move. No one likes to sell, but everyone loves to move. The idea of them selling is not attractive to them. However, where they're going, why they're going there, is what they want to talk about. That's what's exciting to them. It's the same reason why there's an old script that exists from a long time ago. I don't even know if it's still around. It used to start off with, I was calling to see when you plan on interviewing the right agent for the job. Toss that script in the trash if you're still using it. Why is that? Because people don't want to talk about selling. They don't want to think about a lockbox on their door. They don't want to think about another sign in their yard, people traipsing through their house. But you know what they do want to think about? The outcome, where they're going. So early on in the appointment, for me, I go right into reviewing questions that I've already talked about with them, and I focus on reminding them of why I'm sitting there in the first place. Here's what that looks like.
So let's just go over a few things. I know you're planning on moving to Phoenix. Is that right?
Yeah, that's correct. Just downsizing, our kids are gone.
Okay.
And a lot of yard and stuff to take care of. And
Okay.
so
All right. And how long have you been here?
we've been here about, 15 years?
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah.
Long enough to have a lot of equity, but wanting to keep a lot of equity.
Understood. Understood. Are you going to keep a place here in Michigan or?
We are.
Okay.
We're going to keep a condo here.
Yeah, we have a condo here, so we'll.
Nice.
Yeah.
In case the kids ever want to come back.
Yeah, they may.
Yeah, fair enough. And if you don't mind me asking, what's important about getting to Phoenix? How did you arrive at that?
Well, I have MS, and
Okay.
so the winters here are hard for me in Michigan. And
Yeah.
so we thought having something in a warmer climate would be easier for us.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah, keep things a little bit more balanced.
Yes.
That makes
For
sense.
sure.
And you can still, if you've got a place here, you can come back and enjoy the Michigan
Yes.
Yeah,
summers, right?
absolutely.
All right, good. Now, timing wise, ideally, when would you like to be in Phoenix?
Thanksgiving, right?
Yeah, I'd love to be
Thanksgiving
able
would
to
be
host
great.
Thanksgiving there this year.
Okay, so about Thanksgiving.
Yep.
Just make a note of that because that's important. And anything else that I should know about your situation that maybe I didn't ask you?
Well, I guess probably the most important thing is, what do you charge?
Okay, yeah,
You
commission.
know, yeah, our house is worth a lot of money.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, but we owe about 500,000.
Yeah, we owe about 500,000 and we'd love to see, $1.5 million
Yep.
out of the house.
Okay.
We've been here long enough. We've seen what our neighbors are selling for,
Sure.
and we've done a lot of improvements.
Yeah.
We just updated
The office and
Yeah.
area.
office and the
looks great.
primary bedroom and
Yeah.
primary bath. We've spent about $100,000, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Well, the good news is your place looks great, and I'm sure all of those improvements are going to be appreciated by the buyer. And so I will go through. We'll cover the costs once we get through everything, if that works
Okay.
for you.
Perfect.
Okay.
Right? I know
Sure.
that's an important question, right?
Yes.
Okay, a couple things there. Number one, whenever they try to divert you and ask you questions about commission or what you charge or, well, what are you going to do to sell my home? You always deflect and say, we're going to get to that. Yep, that's an important one. Oh, yeah, commission. I'm sure you want to know. We're going to cover that. You never let them take control of the appointment in that moment, especially as it relates to cost. And here's why. If I were to answer their question and for some reason they don't agree with what I charge, I'm dead in the water. I've only been at their kitchen table for 7 minutes. I haven't had a chance to build enough rapport. I haven't had a chance to show them my value. So instead, when they try to throw you off or they were to ask you maybe, what do you charge or whatever, you always say, yep, that's an important point. We're going to cover that. Yep, that's important. We're going to get to that. But you're going to see they do that a few times throughout the appointment. And I'm always pushing that off till the end. That's number one thing I wanted you to observe. The second thing I wanted you to observe is how I was asking them questions about what's important. In fact, I want you to write down what's important about blank. Write down what's important about blank. I also want you to write down how is blank important to you? How is blank important to you? And the blank would be what's important about downsizing? How is downsizing important to you? See, your competitors are just getting information like, oh yeah, we're downsizing. Yeah, we're moving here. They're getting some surface level stuff. But I'm getting to the root of why they're really moving by asking what's important about questions or how is blank important to you. Another one I like to ask is ultimately, what will that do for you? Another question I like to ask is ultimately, what will that do for you? I'm getting deeper. She brought up she has MS. She probably hasn't shared that with many agents. But my rapport level absolutely increased when they shared that piece of information with me. And they would not have shared that piece of information with me if I hadn't asked the question correctly to get it. What's important about blank? How is blank important to you? And what will all this do for you? All right, that's step 3. Remind them why they're moving. Let's go to step 4. Confirm the home specs. All right, pretty classic. I'm sure most of you do this. If you don't do this, or if you do this, make sure you do it before you present the comps. Otherwise, when you're presenting the comps, they're going to be wondering, well, I wonder if he took into consideration. I wonder if they took this into consideration. I wonder if she took, they're going to be wondering if you took, we finished the upper level. I wonder if they're going to be wondering that the entire time you're going through the CMA. So I want you to confirm the specs before you go into the CMA. That's step 4.
Good. So let's talk about some of the particulars of your home. I'm showing you have 4 bedrooms. Is that right?
That's correct.
Okay. And 4.5 baths.
Yep.
Does that sound right to
Yep.
you? And you're about 4,500 square feet.
Correct.
Sounds right. Okay, good. And 4-car garage. Nice
Yep.
size garage. Yep. Looks like the walkout's been finished. Nice job on that. Looks
Yep.
good. A lot of entertaining
Dry.
space down there.
Yeah.
And you said on the phone that you just put about $100,000 into your office, the primary bedroom, and also the primary bedroom bath. Does that sound right?
That's correct.
Yeah. What did you do in there, if you don't mind me asking?
We put all new tile down and carpet.
Yeah, it looks pretty
And
new.
finished up some sheetrock and stuff. It was semi-unfinished before when we.
Why didn't we
purchased
do it earlier?
I
That's
don't
the
know.
question.
Do it to sell.
Yeah. When did you do that? What year?
So we did that last year.
Oh, nice. Okay,
Yeah.
so 2023. So that's nice. That's definitely something that we're going to be able to promote in our marketing, and it's going to look great in the photos for sure. So you
Always
guys did the right
assuming the
things.
listing.
And you said you owe about $500,000.
Yeah,
Yep. When we talked on the phone, you said you'd like to get about 1.5.
that's
Yeah,
correct.
you're
That's what
listed
we're
yep,
trying
you're-
for.
You're listed at 1.5 and you want to get 1.5. Obviously, you
Sure.
might have been thinking, just put it out there as for sale by owner and see if you can get lucky, right?
That's correct.
Well, we like money.
Yeah.
It's a
We-
retirement.
We need to buy something nice in Phoenix.
Okay.
Right?
All right.
We're both very picky, aren't we, Derek?
Yes, we are.
Very picky.
That's fair. I can appreciate that. Listen, if I were in your shoes, I'd want every penny as well. So that's my goal. It's my job to make sure I put you in a position to maximize the profit. So we're speaking the same language.
Okay.
Sound good?
All right, now let's go to step 5, the timing analysis. Quite honestly, this might be one of my favorite parts of every single listing appointment. And the reason is because it very much eliminates the objection that you might be hearing at the end. So if you're hearing at the end of your listing appointments this often, and that is, we need to give it some more time to figure out our plans. We need more time to get our ducks in a row. We need more time to think this over. We got a lot of stuff that we got to figure out before we list. If you're hearing that often on listing appointments, I'm going to encourage you to add the timing analysis to your current listing appointment. Now you're going to see that I'm presenting a timing analysis on a document to them at the kitchen table. At the end of this session, I'm going to put a QR code up so you can scan it, and you're going to get an exact copy of that document, the same document that I present on every single listing appointment. Also, I'm going to probably fast forward through this a little bit because you guys all know, how long a home sale takes. But I want you to see the beginning of the presentation and the ending of the presentation, the timing analysis, and I'm going to encourage you to add this to your current listing appointment.
First things first, you're aware today that there's really a couple things we pay close attention to when it comes to selling a listing. One is timing and one is price. All right. Timing is important because, and I don't mean timing from a standpoint of timing the market per se. I mean timing so that way you're not forced to move twice. My guess is you wish to avoid that.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, perfect. So then let's take a look at the timing, because that's obviously an important issue. And I'm going to fill this out and explain it to you, and then I'll kind of flip it around to show you what I'm writing in.
Okay.
So first things first, assuming you're comfortable with everything I have. By the way, are you aware of how long it's taking to get a home sold and closed?
No.
Okay, perfect. So let me fill this out then. So let's just say, you're comfortable with everything I have to say. We go through the paperwork. We get things signed and ready to go today. Today's date is what, the 17th? That sound right to you?
Again,
Yep.
always
Yep.
assuming
All
the
right.
listing.
And then by the
again,
time we get a professional photographer out here, do some drone footage of your house and of the neighborhood, and write all the remarks and all the description for the internet sites and of course our social media plan. Listing will go live about 3 to 5 business days. So that puts us at about 1/22. That gives us a few days to get things.
Okay, so let's just pretend I go through the whole process, pending, closing, if there's occupancy, keys after closing, and then I'm gonna fast forward it to the end here.
So starting today,
Okay.
of course, I've got everything here ready to get us started today.
Assuming the listing again.
Getting the listing live about a week from now.
Okay.
Getting an agreement accepted from a buyer, getting it closed, exchanging keys. You're actually, and this is even that's a window of a 30, 40-day market time. You're actually not moving until November the 1st.
Yeah, that's cutting it
Yeah,
closer than I
yeah.
thought.
How does that fit your timeline?
Yeah, that would be great if we could squeeze it in
You said
before.
Thanksgiving, so,
Yeah.
and that was going to be my next question. Do you want to be settled by Thanksgiving, or do you want to be moving around Thanksgiving?
You said you wanted to host.
I do want to
Thanksgiving.
host
Okay.
Thanksgiving dinner there.
So we really got to get in by 11/1.
Yeah.
Give yourselves
yeah,
2
because
3
they're
weeks to get
flying
ready.
in and stuff, so.
You're going to have finishing touches and things,
Yeah,
right? Okay. So having said that, let's keep that in mind when we're talking about how aggressive we might need to be to get this moved, because really then we only have this sort of timeline, 40 days to get you under contract with a buyer. Does that make sense?
See what I did there? I drew the timing analysis back to picking an aggressive price, because if we don't pick an aggressive price, then we're not going to get you in time for Thanksgiving. So that timing analysis will actually also help you get a better price. But I want you to catch a question that I asked in there, and I'll repeat it so you can write it down. Do you want to be moved by Thanksgiving, or do you want to be settled by Thanksgiving? Because those are 2 different things. And what I showed them is, remember, it goes back to that original conversation. Their guard's up. No matter what he says, we're not signing anything. What I showed them that we only have 40 days to get your home sold to another buyer in order to meet that Thanksgiving deadline. And this appointment, by the way, took place in July. This was recorded at one of our retreats, our Live Unreal retreat last year in July. So what I showed them is that we only have 40 days to get it sold. It creates what I call a reverse urgency. Now they go from being, no, we're not signing anything, we're not in any hurries, to, whoa, we better get moving. Thanksgiving's right around the corner, according to this. I'm going to encourage you to add the timing analysis. I don't think there's an appointment I go on today where I don't present that, even if I'm getting the listing, because they need to understand how the price is going to impact the timing. That's step 5, the timing analysis. Again, you're all going to get a copy of that at the end. I'm going to put up a QR code you can scan to get it. Step 6, present the CMA. Now, most of you all know how to present a market analysis. So kind of like with the last one, I'm going to let the beginning play, and then you're going to assume I went through an entire CMA, and you're going to see how I closed to get the price at the end.
So let's take a look at, there's 3 things that we look at as it relates to sales in the neighborhood. We take a look at the actives, because that tells us what our current competition is. That tells us what buyers are out looking at right now. We take a look at the pendings, because that actually tells us what a buyer just recently bought, which is actually a good barometer, because recently it can be as little as a few days ago up to a few weeks ago. It hasn't closed yet. And then, of course, we take a look at the solds. And the reason why we take a look at the solds is because that's what's going to show up in your appraisal. That's what an appraiser is going to use in terms of determining an actual value. And you know why that's probably important, right?
I would think the bank has to like it, for
That's
sure.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. At the end of the day, it almost doesn't matter what price we agree to with a buyer, because it all boils down to what the appraiser says the home is worth. And sometimes we get buyers that are able to pay over appraised value, and we negotiate at that time.
Right.
But absolutely, if I'm in your shoes, I want to know what's an appraiser going to be looking at, right? So let's take a look at the first active, all right? This one's listed over on Chubb Road, and it's in the same community, same school district. It's actually a new construction.
Okay.
All right. It is a little bit smaller. Okay.
Okay, a couple things there. If you didn't catch it, we take a look at the actives, we take a look at the pendings, and we take a look at the solds. If you're in a market that's softer right now, meaning average days on market is up, less multiple offer situations, more listings are sitting, then I want you to actually put more emphasis on the actives. Of the three, we actually pay more attention to the actives in a softer market. All right, so that's important to point out. Yeah, so we take a look at the actives because that's our current competition. We take a look at the pendings because that's what buyers are buying like right now. And we take a look at the solds because that's what's going to show up in an appraisal. Now notice as I'm going through the comps, again, I said I'm going to fast forward this. We don't really need to watch this. But notice how it's upside down. It's right in front of them. Look at the body language. I'm leaning in. I'm involving them in this process. The more you involve them in the comparable process, the presentation of the comparables, the more likely they're going to accept a price that is more in line with what it's really worth. All right, that's step 6, present the CMA. Now here's how I close for the price. So pretend I presented actives, pendings, and sold. Now here's how we close for the right price. Step 7.
Based on the actives, the pendings, and the solds, all right, we've covered them all. What price do you feel we should use to create value in the eyes of the buyer to get someone to buy your home versus the competition?
And then just zip it and listen. So you lay out the actives, the pendings, the solds, and you ask the question. Okay, this question's been around for decades. It's a great one. Based on the actives, the pendings, and solds, what price do you feel we should use to create value in the eyes of the buyer to get someone to buy your home versus the competition? And then just zip it and listen. Make them make the decision. Now, in most cases, they're going to come back with a number that is not something you agree with. And that's going to take us to step 8. It's part 1 because there's 2 parts, because today the pricing conversation is a little bit more difficult today than it was, say, a year or 2 ago. So here's how they may respond.
I would like to try a little higher and just see what the market brings. Maybe like 1.4 or something like around there would be something I'd be happy with.
Okay, 1.4.
So we're coming down a little bit.
Yeah. So
Not too much coming down.
I don't know. That's a lot. And we still have to pay your commission.
Yep.
Are we ready to talk about
I want to
that?
know what that is. So
Yeah,
it makes a big
we don't know.
difference.
well, I just want to make sure we have an agreement on price first. Before
Okay, well, let's try to get there because we're bigger than this house, right? I feel like we're fairly comparable.
Yeah.
What do you think, hon?
Well, would you feel comfortable taking or listing at 1.4?
So based on what I'm taking a look at, my concern with 1.4, because it sounds to me like you would be open to starting at 1.4 and coming down later if it doesn't work out. Is that right?
Yeah, it looks like we need to have that ability, but we don't want to leave any money on the table.
Sure. My only concern with doing that is you've probably heard the phrase before. If not, I'll share it with you. Days on market is really the enemy to your home's value. May I explain?
Please.
Yeah.
So let me ask you a question. When
that
you
down.
bought this house, you guys have lived in it now for 10 years. When you bought this house 10 years ago, do you remember what some of the questions you had for your agent before you made your offer?
We probably did ask how long it was on the market.
For sure, we asked that and probably asked what the houses around it had went for because a couple had just sold.
Yeah, yeah. So why did you ask how long it had been on the market?
Thinking maybe we'd get a little better deal on it if it wasn't, newly put on the market.
Yeah. So if it had sat on the market for a bit, days on market obviously would be high. You're thinking you might have been able to get a better deal on it. Is that right?
Yeah, maybe some more negotiation.
Yep. And don't you think that most buyers are going to feel just like you?
Bingo.
Probably
Probably.
so.
So you can see then starting high is actually creating a situation where people are going to question either what's wrong with the house or maybe we can go in lower because it's been on the market for so long. And I don't want your listing to become stale. So if it's all right with you, based on what we've been seeing in terms of the competition and what's been recently sold, I believe the right price is 1.2. Would you be able to live with 1.2?
definitely would be something we'd consider, but we'd have to know what our bottom line is.
We have to go back to that commission question.
Sure. Yep.
right?
Yep. We'll
But-
get to that.
But, you know, from looking at these comps, I think we may have an issue getting it to appraise. You know, that would be one thing that
Right.
I'd like, you know, looking at if these are the highest comps we have.
Yeah.
You know, that may be an issue.
One of the
How about
questions.
1.3?
Well, I can appreciate that.
Classic seller.
And I'll make a note of that. And one of the
Listen to this
questions
question.
that
Listen to this question.
we get from agents that show homes when we're the listing side is, why does the seller believe their home is worth 100, in this case now, $100,000 more than the neighbors? And so how would you prefer I respond to that when I get asked that question if we list it at 1.3?
Okay, write that down. I'll repeat it. One of the questions that we get from agents who show our listings, is, why does the seller, one of the questions that we get from agents who show our listings is, why does the seller believe their home is worth blank more than the others? Why does the seller believe their home is worth blank more than the others? I'm going to get that question. So when they ask me, how would you like me to respond? So since I know they're going to ask me that question, when they ask me that question, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, how would you like me to respond? One of the questions we get is, why does the seller feel like, in this case, the home is worth $100,000 more than the others? So when I get that question, how would you like me to respond? All right, that's the first thing I wanted you to catch in there. Well, not the first thing, but one of the things I wanted you to catch in that clip. The other thing I hope you caught was days on market is the enemy to your home's value. So we know they always want to start high and come down later, and we know that that's not smart, but they don't know that. So what you have to do is you have to put them back in their own shoes. Now, the other way you could do that is just say, hey, when you're looking at Zillow or Realtor.com or whatever app you use, do you ever look at days on market? Why do you look at days on market, right? You can use that as a scenario as well. But since pricing is more difficult right now with the seller, we have to have tough conversations with them. And the tough conversation includes not giving in just because they're ready to give you the listing at any price. So they're going to push me further. And so that takes us to step 8, part 2. We're going to handle more pricing objections. Let's see what it looks like.
And I wouldn't be doing my job if, in fact, I would be doing you a total disservice if I took your listing based on what I'm seeing for more than 1.2 million.
So like not 1.25?
I wouldn't go over 1.2, and here's why. Before I came out, I did research on what's happening here in South Lyon. And the majority of the sales taking place are between 800,000 and 1.2 million. So what that means is if you're $1 over 1.2, if you're 1.2 and $1, that means your buyer pool is going to go from this, which is the majority of the buyers searching here in South Lyon, to this. Because once you get over 1.2, now you're competing with homes that are 1.4, 1.5, 1.6, and there's not many of those that sell at that price point here in South Lyon. So I really think the number would be 1.2. And if you're okay with it, I would be okay with listing it at 1.2 and holding firm at that price. Because I'd rather see you get 2 to 3 offers and turn them all down than never get an offer at all. If we start at 1.25 or 1.3, we're not meeting that Thanksgiving deadline. And now, by the way, if you're open to extending that to maybe December or January, we could start a little higher because then that gives us more time. But we still have to deal with the fact that we're now going to have high days on market, which will end up hurting you financially anyways.
Yeah,
Does that
and
make
we'd like
sense?
to get out of here before winter. So it would definitely be something we would consider if we could see what you did to market it.
Perfect. Okay.
And if
We can
So
probably
if the
1.2.
numbers came out right with the
Yeah.
commission
make
and
that
all.
work.
Sounds good. So you could live with 1.2.
We could live
Yeah,
with
because
it.
at the end of the day, you know,
Okay,
taking what
couple things I wanted you to recognize there. Number one, if you didn't write this down, please do so. I would be doing you an absolute disservice if I took your listing at that price, and so would anyone else. I would be doing you an absolute disservice if I took your listing at that price, and so would anyone else. I hope you picked up on that. If not, write that down. The second thing I wanted you to catch there is anytime you're on a listing appointment, you need to know like the hot price points. And most of you probably know, you think about the markets that you sell now, like I can name, like I'm just going to name a bunch of Metro Detroit ones, right? Like I know Livonia, the hot price points are between like 3 and 500,000. I know Canton, the hot price point is between 4 and 600,000. I know Northville, the hot price point is between 750 and a million. I know, you know the hot price points. And so, if you're on a listing appointment and they want to go just over the hot price point, you have to show them a visual. You saw how I did that at the table. Your buyer pool is going to go from this to this. That's real. Be prepared to do that on listing appointments, especially when you're talking price. All right, we're going to go to step 9. Now, in step 9, I'm going to fast forward because, again, there's not any value in you seeing me present a marketing plan of action because you all have different marketing plan of actions. But what I do want you to see is how I open up the presentation of it. So I'm going to play the first, minute or two of this.
So now let's talk marketing since we have an agreement on price. You familiar with the difference between institutional and promotional advertising?
Nope.
Okay. So one thing that sets us apart from many is that we don't believe just in promotional advertising. We believe in institutional advertising. And promotional advertising is all the specifics we do to sell houses. Institutional advertising is everything we do to promote our team, our agents, our brand. And what that does is that drives more traffic to our listings because when consumers see our advertisements, say down at Comerica Park, at the ballpark, when they see our advertisements along the freeway, or when they see our advertisements on social media, they're more likely when they see listings of ours to reach out to us versus maybe somebody else because they're familiar with us.
Okay.
And so that leads to more showings on our listings, which of course, I don't have to tell you, the more showings you have, the more interest leads to more leverage. The more people that are interested in your house, the more likely we are to get that 1.2 number. So in addition to the promotional advertising, which I'll cover that in just a second, the institutional advertising that you've seen through the years actually is a tool to help us get more listings sold. Does that make sense?
It does, yeah.
We've seen them on the stadium.
Yeah.
So now let me just share with you a couple of our tactics, okay? Number one, we're going to
I'll
expose.
pause it there. But what I want you to write down from that is institutional equals brand, promotional equals product. Institutional equals brand, promotional equals product. In other words, promotional equals product means everything you're going to do to specifically sell their home. You've probably been doing that already. You probably already have a listing plan of action. Again, as I mentioned at the end, you're going to get a copy of mine. But what about institutional? What are you doing? What is your team doing? What is your company doing? Anything that you do to promote your personal brand on social media. Listen, you don't have to have billboards and TV ads. It doesn't matter. It can be all social media. What are you doing to promote your brand on social media, your brand on mass advertising? That is a direct impact to benefit the seller. That is a direct impact for showings on their listings. So make sure you're splitting up those two and explaining to them the social media advertising that you do, the videos that you do, the information that you share on social media is all designed to actually indirectly help them as a seller. So now that we're winding down the listing appointment, I presented price, I went through marketing. Now it's time to start closing for the listing. Here's what that looks like.
We reached an agreement on price. You believe this plan has what it takes. I have to ask, do you feel that I can sell your home?
Yeah, I think this guy's.
I do.
Okay.
You come across very genuine and we do, your name's recognizable.
Sure.
I do think we probably want to sleep on it because we don't just make snap decisions.
Yeah.
We are,
And we want to hear about commission too.
yes, I guess we haven't answered
Yeah.
that question.
Yeah, we did.
either,
Okay,
so-
we can cover that now.
Yeah.
So we've got an agreement on, you feel comfortable at this point. I
Yes.
know it's not 1-4, 1-3, but you feel comfortable 1-2.
2.
You feel comfortable with the marketing plan. Obviously, we feel comfortable, and I feel comfortable working with you guys as well. I just want to let you know that. So
Ooh, see how I tied in one of 3 things will happen right there? And I just want to let you guys know, I feel comfortable working with you as well. It's kind of like it brings that all back full circle. So what I did there is I reminded them, we got an agreement on price. I know it's not exactly what you want. We got an agreement on price. You feel the marketing strong. You feel the marketing has what it takes. Now I have to ask, do you feel I can sell your home? It's very rare when you get 2 yeses, on the first 2, price, marketing, that they're going to say no the third time. All right. It's actually a technique in sales called yes set selling. Once you get them saying yes, they're more likely to say yes to your third or fourth question. But since you know they're going to say yes to price because you already got an agreement on that, you know they're going to say yes to marketing, you got an agreement on that. When you ask the question, do you feel I can sell your home? It's almost inevitable they're going to say yes to that as well. So now we're going to present terms and handle commission objection. Now, because of what happened last year, I hope you can appreciate, as a licensed realtor and a member of NAR, I can't actually train you on what to charge. So that's actually been removed from the video. So let's just pretend that I shared my fees with them and they're going to give me an objection. You're going to hear how I handle that objection. Now, this was recorded in July of last year. As you know, the change took place in August. Well, at the time this was recorded, we were still able to see commission rates in the MLS. As you guys know, that has gone away. So just disregard that, because I do mention that to the seller in this case, because that had not changed yet. Here's step 11.
Well, since we are taking that lower number, is there any chance for any negotiations on your fees?
Yeah, I'm sorry, we charge everyone the same. See, if I made a deal for you, then that means I would be doing a disservice for everyone else up until this point that we've charged the same amount for.
How about on the buyer side? Can we?
You can certainly offer whatever you want.
Okay,
I will
perfect.
show you in the multiple listing service what the others have offered out.
Of course, that's changed. Now, in your language now, you might be saying, yep, you can offer whatever you want on the buy side. But of course, you don't have a way to go and see what that is in the MLS in most cases. So that's step 11. Let's go to step 12. Now, once I got an agreement on price and terms, now it's time to close for a signature. Step 12.
Are you ready to put me to work for you then?
You know, we really would like to talk about it. We've met with a couple of agents now.
Okay.
And, you know, it'd be nice if we could sleep on it and maybe let you know tomorrow.
Yeah. That's certainly an option. And I will tell you in my experience, when a seller tells me that they want to sleep on it, usually what it means is that they would just like some privacy to talk, which I totally respect that. You guys want to have a discussion without me present. So if it's okay with you, I'll just go ahead and step outside. I've got a few phone calls to return, and just wave me back in after you guys have had a chance to chat, okay?
Okay.
All right, perfect.
Thank you.
Every single time they tell me they want to sleep on it or think it over, that's where I go. And I actually have, you know, I teach this obviously nationwide, and people will literally raise their hand and say, "You really do that?" Yes, I really do that. Because in most cases, you know that that's actually what they mean. They don't need the night to figure it out. They just want to talk in private without you there. So I just put that thought into the universe by saying, you know, when someone tells me they want to sleep on it or think it over, usually what they mean is they just want some time to talk in private. And I totally respect that. So I'm going to give you guys a chance to do that. I'll step outside, return some phone calls. You wave me in when you're ready. Now, does that work 100% of the time? Absolutely not. In fact, if I had to measure how many times it works, it doesn't work, I'd say 2 out of 3 times they allow me to step outside. And I will tell you, of the 90% of the 2/3, they call me back in, I get the listing. It's a very effective technique, because I'm not leaving there without the listing. First of all, that's just my mentality. But it's a very effective technique to get a listing right on the spot. That's step 12. Now watch how I come back in for the signature on step 13.
Well, I'm glad you guys had a chance to chat. So when it comes to our first showing, who would like to handle the first showing? Who are we reaching out to for those?
It would be me.
Okay, perfect. And your number is?
541 451 2211.
He kind of jumped right into that and just assumed we were going to sign with him, didn't he?
I think it was because our smiles.
Well,
We just looked too
Yeah.
happy, I guess.
I hope you're okay with me being
He's wrong.
persistent, because when we have a buyer who's interested in your home, you're going to want me to be just as persistent at following up with them, won't you?
We are both in sales. We both very much appreciate that.
Yeah.
So-
Well, I'm looking forward to going to work for you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for the opportunity. Yep, you bet.
So anytime someone tells you that, "Hey, you know, you're being a little strong," well, gosh, I'm sorry. I hope you can appreciate I'm following up with you the same way I would follow up with somebody who might be interested in your home. But notice when I came back in, I wasn't like, "So, you know, what do you think? Did you guys get a chance to talk?" No, I came back in and I assumed the listing again. That was evident throughout all of the 13 steps of the appointment. But I wanted to make sure I walked you through these today, because going on a listing appointment today is not the same as going on a listing appointment a year or 2 ago. We have to stand our ground as it relates to price, and we have to help them understand the right price right out of the gate so that their listing doesn't become stale. And never forget, in the listing business, listings are won and lost based on how well you present their price. Listings are won and lost based on how well you present their price. So I want to share with you the plan of action. If you want to scan that, that'll take you right towards our plan of action. And then, Chris, if it's all right with you, I want to share just briefly our next event in January, and then we'll open it up for a discussion if that's all right. You and I can keep
Yeah, I was
discussing.
just going to ask you about that. So yeah, people need to know about your events, and then we can
Yeah.
get to the questions. We have like six minutes left.
Perfect. All right, perfect. Well, let me share. I'll give them a second to scan this. This is exactly what I was presenting at the kitchen table to the seller. It's probably going to ask you your first name, your last name, your email, and it's a PDF. You can download, you can do whatever you want with it. If you're not familiar with what we do on a regular basis outside of listing and selling real estate, our next event also happens to be in Phoenix, technically Scottsdale, and that's coming up this January. Check it out.
You can't wing your way to the best year of your career. And if this year is any indication of what 2026 will look like, you need a plan. You need direction. You need to be in this room.
My business has doubled, literally doubled.
It is a game changer. It will change your life. It will change your business. And it's been one of the best decisions I've ever made.
This January, we're kicking off 2026 in sunny Scottsdale, Arizona. And if you're serious about selling more homes, hitting the goals you've been chasing, and living your unreal life, you need to be here.
I'm hitting records that I've never hit before. I'm breaking through limiting barriers I've never had.
This is the Live Unreal Summit, the event that will launch your year with clarity, purpose, confidence, and a plan that actually works.
So many life-changing aha moments. Being in rooms with like-minded agents who are focusing on getting better.
We'll give you the exact systems, tools, strategy, and the mindset required to grow in any market, no matter what the headlines say. This isn't fluff. This is tactical. This isn't stuff agents did 5 years ago. This is the stuff my team and I and literally thousands of Glover U clients around North America are winning with today.
Do it. It is 3.5 days, action-packed of motivation, inspiration, pages of tactical strategies that I can implement.
With some of the other events that I've been to in the past, it always seems like what's on stage is for show and not for dough. And what Jeff puts on stage is what's going to actually help you make money and be successful in a difficult and challenging market.
I invite you to join us at this January's Live Unreal Summit in Scottsdale, Arizona at the beautiful Westin Kierland Resort.
Better to go big and really take in all the content, all the fun. You won't regret it. If you want to actually be successful in this business, you need to put yourself in rooms with other people that are successful. If you want to be mediocre and average, keep doing what you're doing.
So the question is, are you going to drift into 2026? Or are you going to grab the reins and drive your business forward? Secure your seat, set the tone for your year, surround yourself with people who are where you want to be, and make your unreal life your reality. We'll see you this January.
All right, there it is. Thank you so much for the opportunity, Chris and team. I hope everyone on today has gotten some value and is going to take some tools and add some dialogues to their next listing appointment, maybe tonight.
I have my 8.5 by 14 pad. Oh, you can't see it, but I have multiple pages of notes. And I've done this a few times. So you all should have a lot of notes. Hey, a couple of quick questions that were in chat, Jeff. I don't remember at what stage this question came in, but it says, how do you handle it when the seller says, well, that's why I'm hiring you. You tell me what it's worth.
That's why I'm hiring you. You tell me what it's worth. I'll say, absolutely, I can appreciate you asking that. And my goal is to obviously make sure we price this at a number that's going to put the most money in your pocket. And I'm sure you have at least a goal in mind or a target in mind that you're hoping to get for it. Could you share that at least with me, Chris? So essentially, I'm asking them the question in a different way. I'm presenting it as a target or a goal, and I'm trying to get it out of them a second time. If after the second time they say, well, we sure do, but we're not going to share that with you, I'll say, well, I hope you can understand, this is going to be teamwork. We're going to be working together. So we are going to have to be open to one another. And if you just want me to share a number, I'd be more than happy to do that. I can go through that process with you now. And then good, bad, right, or wrong, at that point, I'm kind of forced to give my opinion.
Yeah, great. Yeah, and here's what I'm going to say to everyone. don't overthink the details. Like you just keep asking questions, you just keep going through your process. And if you have a
Mhm.
presentation like Jeff does, like he just shared with us, then the next natural step is always there for you. There was a question about the video. Obviously, this is recorded. Everyone's going to copy of this. If they wanted the full recording of that presentation you did on stage at your event, Jeff, is that available to them? Someone asked that question.
We don't share that publicly because we reserve the full video for Listing Mastery. But if you're going to share this out with them, then Chris, that's about
Figure out what they
90%. I
need.
mean, we cut out like a little chitter chatter and, but that's pretty much the full thing. I'm also seeing in the chat that the QR code didn't work, which is surprising because we use that every
worked.
time.
Even with the black box there, I was able to scan it.
You were able, so
We
let me
also-
just,
we put the link in chat for it.
oh, good. All right, perfect. So
Yeah.
the link is in the chat.
Yep.
Good, good, good. All right. So yeah, so
all right.
just
And
for those of
then,
you that couldn't scan the QR code, grab the link. You can go get it
Yeah.
that way, and it's in the chat.
Well, look, this was awesome, Jeff. Can't thank you enough. Appreciate
course.
you for what you give back and as busy as you are. If you guys aren't following Jeff on social media, absolutely do that. If you should be following Glover U, some of the best content for helping agents be successful is there, and it's from someone who's doing it every day. So thank everyone for joining us. We know you took time out of your day. Those 100 and whatever there was of you that were here will get 10 times more than the people that will watch this on the video, if they watch it on the video. But if you were here live, do watch this again. My team will be watching it again. Jeff, thank you very much.
Hey, Chris, thank you so much for the opportunity, and it's always great to be on with you guys. I'm going to continue staying in the trenches and staying sharp for everyone to help them become better listing agents. So that's my job.
All right. Have a productive rest of the week, everybody. Thanks for joining us.
See you guys.